Silver Crow, and today we continue our descent into madness, or more madness, with the case of Jon Koppenhaver, or Koppenhaver, whatever his name is. So I'll let you know my thoughts on the first reaction when I did to this, because this isn't an hour long. Like I said before in the first one, I will do this in parts. But my thought of the when I reacted the first time is this dude is clearly insane. I'm surprised a lot of people let him fight. So anyway, so further ado, let's continue.
He was highly active on social media, and his intense, albeit controversial views seemed to recapture his fan base to a considerable degree. For the first 6 months after his release from prison, rather than training to be a professional fighter, he mainly vlogged and focused on his brand, while posting the majority of his content to MySpace. Every day he would post a fresh cover photo without exception, and each image consisted of a scenic background with an inspirational message glazed over it. This became almost habitual activity, and those who were following Jon's account could expect a new picture at around midnight every night. However, on Tuesday the 9th of April 2013, the routine procedure abruptly ceased, and for 4 days his social media went completely silent. On Sunday the 14th, he would post just one cover photo, but then withdrew completely from all social media platforms for almost 2 weeks. This caused both his followers and the MMA community to speculate on his whereabouts, with many asserting he had gone back to prison for violating his parole, while others stated he was on the run for a drug charge. But he wasn't on the run, and he wasn't in prison. The rumors were quashed on Friday the 26th at exactly 4:34 p.m., as Jon's social media would once again come alive and see him post multiple times a day, every day. Only this time he wasn't posting melodramatic quotes lifted from Google Images. As it appeared, he no longer needed them.
Oh, she's pretty. Very pretty.
The woman in the picture was 22-year-old Christy McInday, who at the time was a leading figure in the adult film industry. She rose to stardom in 2012 when she first began as a performer, and her profile continued to skyrocket as she hit the mainstream avenues. Her and Koppenhaver met on a photo shoot for Hustler magazine during the spring of 2013, and struck up a relationship 2 weeks later. Jon went back to fighting and restored his winning streak, while Christy continued to rise in the world of adult entertainment. They both seemed to elevate each other's profiles simultaneously, and made several public appearances at award ceremonies and media outlets. They began receiving brand deals as a couple, and were even in talks with Bravo TV about starting their own reality show. Their crossing of paths appeared to align the stars. Everything started falling into place.
Okay, things were at this time was looking up for him, and she's a very beautiful lady. Um, which I always question when people get their side hair cut and everything and have the middle part long as hell. But at the time, even now, that's the hairstyle, you know. So, and the point that I am a little bit jealous because I barely have hair. Most of the time, yes, y'all see me without either with a cap or with a bandana on because I'm. And if I anything, I'm insecure of knowing that I'm losing hair. I have more hair on my back than it is on my head, but that's.
Future looked promising, yet the bright outlook on their flourishing careers and the prospect of being rich and famous would fade into trivial insignificance when compared to the extraordinary rush of falling in love.
Oh shit!
One thing that people understand, yet always seem to forget, is that you never truly know what goes on behind closed doors. Things aren't always as...
Yeah, and here's the thing: I'll explain to people, and especially if anything, if someone gets into a new relationship, or like I was telling my girlfriend that when people meet me for the first time, it's the same you will see behind closed doors. Because at the end of the day, I'm 100% real. I'm real with everybody. I'm very much of an open book unless I close the book, and that's because I don't trust you. So,
they seem, and the manner in which couples often present their lives in public can be a stark contrast to the reality when no one is watching. This is extremely common in abusive relationships and will often be an unspoken agreement between the abused and the abuser. They will each maintain the pleasing facade while hiding the ugly truth. The abuser's public image will often be an outright contradiction to their true self, while the abused will happily play along as they can escape into fantasy and pretend it's all real for a few brief moments. A prolonged abusive relationship requires both parties to live vicariously through the perceptions of others. It would come to light that violence was a common occurrence in Christy and John's relationship, with Christy being on the receiving end of it each and every time. She would eventually break things off in May 2014, but John kept a key to her apartment and showed up unannounced 3 months later to find her in bed with another man. That man was 35-year-old Corey Thomas, who was then beaten to a bloody pulp for roughly 10 minutes and suffered a dislocated shoulder, broken nose, and bite mark to the face. He was then put in a chokehold and made to swear that he wouldn't go to the authorities, at which point he gave John his word and was then let go. Koppenhaver then set himself on Christy for almost 2 hours. She was raped, severely beaten, and
oh
with
God,
her injuries included 18 broken bones in her face, 12 missing teeth, 3 rib fractures, and a severely ruptured liver. Once her attacker's back was turned, she managed to escape out the balcony and stagger to a neighbor's garden where she was soon rescued by police. Officers then raided the apartment, but Koppenhaver was nowhere to be found. He went on the run for over a week and posted tweets the entire time, basically professing how misunderstood and unfairly treated he was. He was eventually tracked down to a motel in Simi Valley, California, and taken into custody. He was held without bond at the Clark County Detention Center for 2.5 years awaiting trial. He pleaded not guilty.
here's the thing. It's like what I said. I said in my thumbnail on the one that I did last week, and it came out this week, that this dude is clearly insane. Like from the first part of the reaction that I did, this dude was clearly insane. I'm like, next thing, oh, I'm misunderstood. You don't misunderstood anything while putting your hands on somebody, an innocent somebody. Doesn't matter if it's an innocent man or woman. He not just beat the dude to a bloody pulp. He beat his ex to a bloody pulp, and that is fucked up. And yet he won't cry, oh, I'm misunderstood. No, you're just a bully and a jerk. And an insane bully and a jerk.
To all 34 charges laid against him, which included 1 count of first-degree rape and 2 counts of attempted murder.
He's
His
just a
trial
monster.
commenced on February 27th of 2017.
Now, you will hear that all of a sudden while they're sleeping, this door comes open, the lights turn on, and the defendant is standing there. Both of them are shocked. They both kind of sit up in the bed. The defendant looks at Corey. He runs to Corey. He jumps on the bed and he starts wailing on his face. Hit after hit after hit after hit. Corey sticks up his hands to protect himself, and then the defendant begins to choke him. Now, Christy, knowing that this is what the defendant does, very quickly hops out of bed and puts the 2 dogs out because the defendant has been violent towards her dogs in the past. She puts those dogs out. She then runs to the bathroom. She takes her cell phone and she makes a 911 call.
See, him looking like that, he knows it's no excuse for his actions. He could play all insane or insanity, whatever. Dude, okay, yeah, you insane, but you have some type of comprehension that you done fucked up. Bad. You know, it's bad enough that you beat up one person. You beat up someone that was very known and also your ex. And you also have, and prior to that, you also have issues before that may land you up in prison. It makes you look bad 10 times worse.
Miss McInday will tell you that at one point she wakes up, she's lying on her back, her legs are spread out in front of the defendant, excuse my language, and he says, "That's my pussy and I'm gonna take it back." He then licks his hand, places it on her vagina in an attempt to lubricate it as he tries to get himself hard. But he's not able to do so, and that makes him angry, so he continues to beat her. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this trial, after you see all of the items of evidence, after you hear the testimony of Corey Thomas, and after you hear the testimony of Christine McInday, the state will ask you to go in, deliberate, come back, and find the defendant guilty of the crimes in which the state has charged him.
I want to ask you a couple questions about an individual by the name of Christine McInday. Do you know her?
Yes.
And how is it that you know her?
We dated.
Tell me about that first date. How'd it go?
Went great. We met each other and, got acquainted with each other and had some dinner about 7 p.m.
Did you discuss any of her previous boyfriends at that time?
Yeah, you kind of discussed that, in the beginning opening date. She had mentioned that her previous boyfriend happened to be a MMA fighter.
What was your understanding of her relationship with the MMA fighter previous boyfriend?
Oh, she said they had no relationship. It had been over for 6 months. So then the door opened to the room, and the lights came on, and the defendant was standing there looking at me.
Is that individual present in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point to him and describe something he's wearing?
Oh, sure. Purple shirt, orange jean.
So the lights went on at that time, and then you were able to see his face.
Yeah.
Describe to me the expression on his face.
A very surprised, big eye, very angry look, and you could see him say the words, "What the fuck?"
What happens after he mouths those words to you?
So I thought to myself, wow, what's going to happen next? And I remember trying to put my hands onto the bed and kind of slide towards the sitting position, but before I could get there, he had already jumped onto the bed from there to there, and he started pounding me in the face.
And where was he striking you?
In the face.
With what?
With his knuckles, closed fist.
Did he land any of those hits?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's going through your mind at this time?
Cover my face, but then I was just receiving hits right to the face, right 10, 15 good, fast, quick hits. And I started to cover my face as fast as possible and get my hands up, but they were still slipping in, the guy's a fighter, so it's like you can't cover everything. And I thought to myself, okay, I gotta break him from hitting me. And I reached up, I grabbed him behind the neck with my right hand, and I pulled him down to flatten him out, so he had to put his hands out. Though as he's coming down, then he bit me here in the cheek.
Okay.
And I could feel the bite, and once it registered I was getting bitten, then I put my hands back up to try and break him off of my face, and then he bit me in the arm as I was trying to push him up off of me. And then he's still hitting me, slipping in a lot of hits. So I used my feet and my hands to push him away from me, and I stepped off to the left side of the bed. I tried to roll over to the side of the bed, and then he came lunging at me and immediately went for my neck from behind and put a choke around my neck. My head is about here, body's like this. He's choking me that way, and I'm looking up at the ceiling thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm not gonna die in Chrissy's bathroom.
What were you feeling as he's choking you?
I was starting to see stars and go unconscious. I was on my way. So then I thought to myself, well, I'm physically done. I think the only thing left here is to mentally try and change the table and see what's possible. And I just asked the simple question. I said, well, what do you want from me? Do you want to kill me, or do you want me to walk out of here?
What was his response?
At first, it was not really a response, just a pause. Then he moved into threatening me and telling me, well, my friends are Hell's Angels, and my friends are Navy SEALs, and how do I know if I let you go, you're not going to be a snitch?
Did you tell him whether or not you would snitch?
Yeah, I said, well, I'm no snitch.
Okay.
So that's that. If we make an agreement to handle this and this is over, then that's what it is.
Okay.
But he threatened me again, and I said, well, you got really two options. You got to kill me, or you got to let me go. And I kind of tried to just changed the table, and I could feel him kind of release a little bit. I got to my feet and walked around the bed. I grabbed my things from this side of the bed. I looked at him, he looked at me, we nodded at each other. I said, okay, and I walked out the door. I went up to the other room where we were last night, grabbed the rest of my stuff, and I walked right back out, down the stairs to the front door, and left.
Were you able to, did you land any punches on him?
No,
No. And why not?
because I was busy getting punched.
Okay. When you were leaving Ms. Mack's residence, did you hear any screaming or yelling between either the defendant or Ms. McNamee?
No.
Did you hear anything that made you believe that there was further violence going on in that house?
From hearing anything? No. Because in my mind, I was never, that's, hitting a girl is not something that I would ever be able to understand doing. So, in my mind,
What did you say?
hitting a girl.
Hitting.
Yeah, I was raised with three sisters, my mother, and that's not something that would process in my mind. So I thought two guys fought, that's the end of it, and I'm spent. I'm sure he is. Move forward.
Do you have quite an affinity for animals?
Yes, I do.
Right. Do you have several pets?
Yes.
So during this time period that we're going to talk about in a little bit, which would be August of 2014, can you explain?
Here's the thing. Before they continue, I'm going back to the guy when he was making his statement, and I do agree because I also have sisters as well, and that does not register. Putting your hands on a lady. I like to always tell people I do pride myself as a gentleman. Yes, we could get nasty under the sheets. With ladies and everything. Yeah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you're not supposed to put your hands on each other. Period. Now a man putting his hands on one, nope. Now a woman putting his hands on a man, no. But if you're willing to put your hands on each other and that person hits you back, you can't. Me personally, you can't say nothing. But at the same time, if a woman put her hands on a man, they had an option to walk away. Always walk away, because that's why I prefer to walk away. Because if a woman puts their hands on me, I'll gladly walk away. Because it won't be worth my time.
How many animals you had, and what kind of animal they were?
I have 2 dogs, and I had.
Oh, even without that type of, she's still very pretty.
And John and I.
But I can tell this changed her a lot.
Okay.
I feel pretty sad
You
about
said
it.
you used the term John. Who's that?
You referred to him as War Machine.
Okay. Was he your boyfriend at one time?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you please just describe an article of clothing that he's wearing for me?
He's wearing a white button-up shirt.
Okay. Your Honor, may the record reflect that she's identified the defendant?
Yes, it will.
Thank you. So we were speaking about the defendant just a second ago. How was it that you met him?
We met at an adult shoot for Hustler, and it was just a photograph spread for Hustler magazine.
Was it did you have an appointment to do the photo shoot at Hustler, or did he? How did that work out?
He did. They had asked him to do the shoot, and he said I would only do it if you got Christy to do it.
Okay. Did you know him at that point?
No, I did not.
Okay. And so you agreed to do the shoot?
Yes.
And so the two of you obviously must have hit it off.
And here's the thing. Looking at John, he does not. He looks like, damn, I really messed up. By it reading and back what he did, he looks guilty now because he's like, damn. He can plead not guilty all he wants to, but that face expression says, crap, I'm guilty.
Yeah, a little bit. I was very standoffish. I didn't want a relationship. I felt very independent, and I didn't want a man at that time.
Okay. But at some point you came into a relationship, right?
Yes, we did.
And so when was that?
Just a few weeks after.
Towards the golden shower.
This is back to what I said, him crying and everything. Now he realizes his actions, but it's too late. Way too late. Better late than sorry, but it's too late because he landed himself in this position. And it's one of those things that I tell a lot of people that yes, it'll be a time that you get to reflect after you put yourself into a horrible position. I have several friends that have done that, and me and them have talked about it. And I'm like, okay, how did you put yourself in this position, and how can you get yourself out? Either you could ride it out, or find a way to get your butt out of this position quick. And most of the time, they either ride it out, or some of the time they figure out how to get out of that situation quick.
When you started dating, how old were you?
I believe I was 22.
And how old was he?
That would make him 32.
What types of things, like when when the relationship was going well, what types of things did the two of you do for fun?
We would go to movies. We would just go to the park, drive around sometimes. I don't like being in crowds. I have really bad social anxiety, so it makes me uncomfortable.
And I was going to ask you, are you somewhat of a homebody?
Yes, definitely.
And do you drink?
Not at all.
Do you do any drugs?
Never.
And so, Mr. Koppenhaver, did that lifestyle match with him as well?
For a while it seemed that it did, but at times it definitely did not suit him at all.
If I were to ask you, like, how would you explain your relationship? What would you say?
Our relationship was definitely very, very passionate. And at times very violent, but sometimes extremely loving.
Did the defendant go quickly to anger during fights?
Usually yes.
At some point in your relationship, did you start to see an angry side of him?
Yes, I did.
In the beginning, or when you first started seeing this side to him, was the violence physical?
Not in the beginning.
Okay, can you explain how it was?
In the beginning, he would remove himself from the situation.
Did it get to a point where when he got angry, he wasn't leaving the room anymore?
Yes.
And did there start to become physical violence in your relationship?
Yes, there did.
When did that start happening?
I want to say 3 or 4 months in. In the beginning, it would just be like a slap in the face, and that would be it, or just choking me, and that would be it.
When he would do this, was your breathing impeded?
Yes, it was.
Would you see stars or lose consciousness?
Usually, yes.
Usually you would lose consciousness?
Yes.
How often were these types of things happening, like the slaps or the chokes?
At first, they weren't that frequent, maybe once a month. But as our relationship progressed, the violence progressed also.
Did you ever fight back?
No.
Now, your mom lived with you in your home in Las Vegas.
Yes, she did.
And you said that the defendant hated your mom.
Yes.
And was there a constant, it went both ways, is that fair to say?
Yes, it did. They both hated each other.
When he would do these things to you, like these choking events or slapping events, would he ever take any personal property from you?
He would usually take my phone.
And why would he take your phone?
He was afraid that I was going to call my mom.
Why would that?
Because mama will come with a knife and execute this man. Jesus. Hey, man, you don't touch... You don't touch a parent's kid like that. Expect the parent to be okay with it. Especially if they know where you live at. They will find you. And they will... quoting Eddie Griffin from the movie Life. Send your ass to the upper room.
Scared him if you called your mom?
Because my mom would call the police.
Did you feel comfortable telling your mom or your friends that these types of things were happening to you?
No, I hid it from my mom the best I could. I don't like my mom to worry about me, and then I also didn't want her to call the police.
Were you embarrassed that these things were happening to you?
I was extremely embarrassed. I never thought that I could let that happen to me. I always saw myself as a strong individual, and I realize now that I shouldn't have been embarrassed, but at the time I definitely was.
Did he ever threaten you if you did tell?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He said he would send his Navy SEAL friends and the Hells Angels after either myself or my family if he went to prison.
Christie recounts.
Ooh, man, wow. So that is it for this video. I will continue in part 3 of this. And man, this dude, man. Personally, I have nothing nice to say about this man. I'm speaking from a guy who used to have anger issues. I had a lot of anger issues. I wanted to take it out on the world. But I knew deep down it wasn't right. And I know what I did? I got better. I let a lot of things go. I sought help. So, if you have these type of issues, please do seek help. Because at the end of the day, you might cause harm to others, or you with someone, you might cause harm to your significant other, especially if you and your significant other have kids. You do not want this, man or woman. You need to seek help, please. So, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. I will leave the original link to this video down below. I will continue with this, hopefully sometime next week or sometime this weekend, and upload it next week or whatever. So, till next time, peace out.